Hello and welcome to the Persevere Motivate Development series, a behind-the-scenes video series building a business management solution written in a variety of languages, but primarily in C#. It will encapsulate a wide variety of tools at the user's disposal, including managing business procedures within different modules, website templates such as vacancies, integration with third-party platforms using REST APIs, and many more. The following presentation will be split up among multiple videos. First, we will discuss the very basic overview of what is to be included inside the HR module. Next, we will begin to develop the application in Visual Studio and go through each point step by step, providing you a diagram and discuss each piece of data along the way. Firstly, I want to introduce you to two libraries that have been in development in the pursuit of this software. The first is DBM, or Database Management, which offers a core class called DBObject based on the MVC structural approach. DBObject is the model of MVC without the views or controllers. The latter we implement ourselves. This library uses the MySQL connector for .NET, supporting version 4.0 or later. The MySQL server we use is attached to WAMP, our local hosting platform, which we will also use later when building the vacancy template website. DBM is not quite complete yet and does not protect from SQL injection attacks as of right now. However, efforts will be made to improve both the security and robustness as we get closer to dealing with more complicated searching capabilities. The other library is called GUI Forms. This was developed quite recently, but improves the management of GUI interactions with database objects as discussed previously. For the most part, it currently offers a way to produce events according to the type of object, such as text boxes, combo boxes, etc., and handles the saving and deleting of objects so we don't have to keep repeating code. Eventually, a search option will also be available, which will be a simple switch in code. Let's now discuss a basic overview of the HR module. As always, this is the business world. Every single business, no matter what market or industry they are in, are comprised of departments, even if it is just the one department. Next comes roles. You might think that you would create employees, but bear in mind what was discussed in our previous video. We are looking at making the admin process simple, not complicated. What you actually create is roles, not employees. Each role comes with basic information. For example, you might have a short internal description about the role, the full job description including any responsibilities, skills and qualifications required, and perhaps whether or not the source is direct from the employer or through an agency. We have some ideas to spice this particular aspect of the HR module. Next is contractual data. No, it will not generate a contract for you. What this section will include is salary wage calculations, statutory rights fulfillments, setting up default timesheets and probation. The contract section will take the most time to complete next to implementing timesheets, as it is crucial we get it right. There will also be an upload mechanism for uploading an actual contract document. Of course, some employers may simply recruit on a verbal agreement, but this software assumes you're taking the written approach. Interview preparation is key. This section will involve writing questions to ask the candidates, setting up a person specification and scorecard. There will be printing mechanisms in this section for convenience. Training materials, while optional, would be recommended particularly for office work and technical hands-on work. Once that is all complete, the role can be submitted as a job listing, of which we will go into further detail later. When you submit your job listing and start receiving applications, candidates will appear against the role. We will first implement this with the vacancy website template. When the role section is finished, we will begin the design and development of the website before moving on to employees. However, the basic employee section will still be required. Basic information of candidates and employees will include names and contact details, nothing more. Next will be their skills and experience, including any uploaded documents. Next is the verification section. This is when you employ the candidate and would be asked to verify the identity and eligibility of the recruit to work in the country. While you could ask candidates if they are eligible to work in your country, it is still a legal requirement to obtain the necessary documentation from them. Most employers typically ask for this evidence after successfully acquiring the role, unless it is an agency who will ask before you are put forward to any employers. You should refer to your local jurisdictions on your legal obligations and what to do when employees do not provide evidence. Of course, this software merely acts as the data provider rather than enforcing any particular law. However, there will be security mechanisms in place to prevent unauthorized access to digital copies of sensitive data. ID departments should also encrypt and protect folders containing sensitive data. Timesheets are a section in and of themselves. Regardless of the type of contract, timesheets are divided by department, then employee, to determine working hours, holidays, and sickness. Each employee will also have performance progress and targets you can set, and this can help you to understand your employees better. And finally, meetings, including questionnaires and outcomes, can be offered to improve the well-being of your employees and show that you care. This may not sound like much, but this is typical in most HR software. What will make this software different is that all this data will be in your control. There will be no cloud, and therefore no liability on us for a breach of data. In addition, we do not agree with the cloud infrastructure and the common pitfalls associated with them, including the requirement to always be connected to the internet, the potential for governmental oversight to abuse their unprecedented powers, and creating trust with the cloud service of your choice. Trustworthy or not, it is far more important, in our eyes, to keep data on internal in-house systems away from the ever more and ever riskier cloud. We think that the costs of adding internal servers eventually outweighs the security risks of a cloud service, and you may find the cost of security on a cloud service is greater than that of an internal server. Large organizations do this for this very reason, but you don't need to be large to do this yourself. Even a small server computer can be enough to secure data protected behind a virtual private network and an industry-grade firewall. On this subject, we would also recommend a virtual private server at the very least for hosting a website containing sensitive data. Cloud-based servers, particularly those that are shared among other users, typically does not guarantee security standards as well as virtual private or dedicated servers might. Website performance and uptime is also not guaranteed, despite the claims of their respective web server providers. The convenience of the cloud is often short-lived due to its openness and the security risks involved. If you care about security and the protection of data, we strongly discourage the use of cloud-based web hosting. Let's talk about how we are going to design this software. The first thing to do is to design the GUI first. This is fairly self-explanatory. Along the way, I can discuss what kinds of information we should put into each section. When testing the groundworks of our GUI, we need to start somewhere. The best way to do this is with JSON and test data. Using a database this early in development is less convenient, as each time you want to make a data structure change, you also have to change it in the database. We will use JSON as it does not involve too much, and we can use simple file I/O for saving the data. Of course, later, once we are happy with the data structures and we are confident it will work, we will move them into our database and start applying our database objects. When creating the tables in our database, we will need to consider using procedures for more complicated transactions. Procedures will be particularly useful when handling movement of data in one transaction. Those familiar with databases will understand what I mean. Thank you very much for watching. In the next video, we will begin the groundwork inside Visual Studio itself, add our references, and get the environment set up for building our HR module.